Welcome to another episode of Thani Oruvan. Through this Thani Oruvan program, what we do, we interview with eminent personalities who have succeeded in their chosen field. We talk to them and we share in their success stories and their inspirational chat, which may help you to decide on your future goals and also to set new goals, and also probably it could be the learning process as well. With that intention, we have started this Thani Oruvan. In this today's program, we have brought a very eminent personality. This person has contributed in educational sector. Why? The education is the most powerful weapon which you can change the world. With that context, I am with a gentleman and also very young, and we also call him the legend in the education sector in Sri Lanka. He is presently chairman and managing director, EduLink International Campus, and also is the chairman of Clamp Holding, and as well he was the former CEO and the executive director ICBT Campus. Apart from that, his commendable service in the educational sector brought loads of awards. He's brought a lot of awards not only for him and also the pride for the country. His awards goes as Hall of Fame Award in the World Chancellors and Vice Chancellors Award 2014 in India, Innovative Leader Award at Asian Leadership Award 2013 in Dubai, and also Young Achiever Award at Asian Leadership Award in 2013 in Dubai, Innovative Leader Award Philip Kotler Initiative World Marketing Summit 2013 Academic and Educational Excellence Awards in Malaysia. So we warmly welcome Dr. Mohan Pathirana for this show, Thani Oruvan. Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Thanks, Ali. Welcome, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Same here. We are very happy and also the pride to have you in this show.
Yeah, I always love sharing my experience, and when it comes to education, I think there is a lot to talk,
Exactly. That's what, as I mentioned, that education is one of the most powerful weapons to change the world.
Yeah, true. I think there is one thing is missing today's world also, isn't it?
Exactly. So when we went through your profile, with I'm sure that you're young to your age and with your experience, and you have achieved a lot in the sector, and also you have done a lot of innovations, and also we saw that you have got a lot of awards through the innovation. Before we come to that, I would like to know, as a young lad, Mr. Mohan Pathirana, what's your early life, how it was during your schooling time, how did you build the dream of your career, how was it?
Yeah, it's a good thing to ask. Also, I think everybody should live upon dreams. Then only you can achieve dreams. Without a dream, I don't think nobody can lead to anywhere. I come from the rural area in Matara. Both my parents are from Matara, and we are not coming from a very affluent family. And my mother was a nurse, and my father was a chef, both working in the government sector. Not that they were good in study, bad in studies, but they didn't have the opportunity to, come to that level, because they are coming from rural area. The education was not that spreaded into that area. I was born in Matara, but my father had a dream. The dream was to make myself, I have one brother, one elder brother, to make us study. So when we were very small, my father, we moved into Colombo. We moved into a very small rented place, like only one bedroom, not even, I think, 200 square feet. But my father wanted us to put into the best school in Sri Lanka, that time Royal College. So he did a lot of work. Those days, like, money was not a factor to enter Royal College. So he had to go around and work towards, and my mother had to walk so far finally, like, they were able to enter my elder brother to Royal, and because my elder brother is there, I also got a chance. So at that time, Royal would have been limited to some majority of the elite crowd because of the distance and those sort of things. But the competition was not so much like those days. Yeah. So we were lucky to get into Royal, and I think myself and my brother, we got the best out of Royal, and because not only we studied, we excel in sports. We captain in athletics, we captain in cricket. Every time, like, we tried to engage in ourselves extracurricular activities. But then all of a sudden, my father wanted us to stop everything and focus on studies. My father had a simple equation. My father did not come from an education background. He was working in government sector, various forms, as a clerk, as a police officer, finally as a custom officer. But he only, my brother wanted to play for Sri Lanka. He captained Royal until under 17. Okay. I captained until under 15. But all of a sudden he said, like, stop everything and study. It was a very simple equation. At that time, if you take Sri Lankan team, they were not the world champions. Probably the cricketers didn't earn much. Contrary, doctors, engineers, accountants were earning more. Nowadays it's vice versa. You become a cricketer and you play one match, you are made for generations. So, but things were different those days. So, my father's equation was, from A levels, at least 500 people will go to universities. But if you play cricket, only 11 people are selected to the team. So his argument was on the basis of possibility, okay, that probability, where which choice, whether you want to be one of 500 or whether you want to be one of 11. So this is how he took that. My brother became Island first in maths. I was also in the first 50 of Island in maths. So we lived up to his expectations and dreams, but unfortunately he passed away as soon as I did my A-levels. So, but anyway, I think he knew that we did the job, what he wanted. And so I came up to this level with a lot of hard work, and my brother is one of the youngest professors in Australia. He's working at Deakin University. So we both are into education. He's into academia while I am into administration. It was like suddenly, I don't know, overnight we made decisions that we are going to do maths, because the country, we did A-levels at that time, 88, 89, 90, 91. All these socialistic issues came and the country was not doing.
When you were at your O level or A level, what was your dream to become? What was your dream to become in your professional life?
See, in fact, my mother is a nurse. So my mother always wanted to make us as doctors. And so we were like, the situation is such time that if you don't go to local university, I did my A-levels in 1991. And that time, hardly any private institute, I think maybe no private institutes, I don't know. So if you don't go to any university, unless you have money to go abroad, then you end up in streets, because we were not that rich enough to and so that was a challenge. It's a make or break game for us. Either you pass A-level and go to university, either you ready to commit suicide. So that was a challenge, which my parents wanted to make us doctors, medical doctors. But it was like suddenly, I don't know, overnight we made decisions that we are going to do maths, because the country, we did A-levels at that time, 88, 89, 90, 91. all these socialistic issues came and the country was not doing. Universities were dragging and delaying. So we thought there are more opportunities for engineering than in medicine if you want to go abroad and study. So we took that path, and I think it has proven to be right, because my brother got a full scholarship from Australia. I also got many scholarships like India, China, Russia, Sweden. But I selected India because it was the medium was English medium, and India, that IIT was one of the leading in the world. So I selected India, and I finished my degree and came. By the time my parallel batchmates,
your degree was in
electrical and electronics engineering. So my parallel batchmate took another 2 years more. So I got a life's advantage of 2 years ahead. So I started my professional career ahead of 2 years than my batchmate at Royal. So that was another advantage.
Advantage.
Yeah.
Then becoming an electronic engineering, then you have chosen a sector of education. So, I mean, what you studied and then the sector you have chosen, pursuing your career, how that all happened?
I did an engineering degree and I came to Sri Lanka because my mother was alone at home. So somebody has to look after her. My brother was never going to return. India is not a country that you can live through. That's another fact. So I came back and I worked at Hayes Engineering as an engineer. But the problem in this country is that engineer means you basically go into the design stage. Control systems I specialized. But here what happens, the engineers do the technician's job. So it's not engineering which mainly what you find here. And so I worked for 3.5 years. Then I thought like my skills and competencies lies not in technical terms, but in management. So I thought I was good at handling people than machines. So that I decided that I will go into the management.
Inbuilt leadership skills.
Yeah, so I did apply to Colombo University, and I did my MBA there. And it was not an easy thing because I was the youngest. I did start my MBA when I was about 25, 26 years. Colombo University MBA was very competitive at that time. You know, imagine you get 800 applications. You selected, they select 80 students for the batch. Very competitive. And I was lucky to be included in that batch. I think most of the people are about 35 years and senior managers. And I had the opportunity to mix up with various professionals coming from various industries, doctors, lawyers, engineers, accountants. So I must say that I developed a lot of management skills, English skills in that MBA. And finally, only about 27 students passed out. Okay. And out of that, there were only 3 first class, and I was lucky to get one. So I was one of them. So it's whatever I think I did with a lot of enthusiasm. I enjoyed doing whatever I did. So that's when. And answering to your question, Haley's engineering, I mean, working as an engineer, you can work for your lifetime as an engineer, but you will have to report to a manager. That is never ending. So I decided to go into my next level. Probably financially also I was not in good form. So then this Selinco group advertised for a manager to start up an education institute. I just wanted to test that. I don't know what his education management was. It was a real learning curve for me, and I took up that challenge. So I must appreciate Mr. Lalit Kotalawala, who initiated the education in Selinco Group. He's a lovely gentleman and looked after me very well. And I did a lot of work to bring up the ICBT campus to be the best in Sri Lanka at some moment. Yeah, but I think end of the day, I enjoyed seeing students grow up, students graduate, students go into jobs. At 18 years of my tenure in ICBT, more than 30,000 students pass out from their degrees, and everybody is doing a job. So majority of the crowd will have to go to a private institute and educate themselves. So there's a bigger market, bigger scope for any private education doing a quality education.
So I assume then after that you wanted to be entrepreneur yourself, and then you started your own.
Yeah, I think one of the issues with organizations in this today's context is that these private education institutes operate as limited liability companies, unlike university system. So there you get like board of directors. So if you happen to get the board of directors who are not educated, I think then you are going to get into problems. So I think that came into play. So anyway, so I decided like to be on my own and share my knowledge and experience to continue the good things I have done over the years, not only in Sri Lanka but in overseas, and I have even in Maldives, like I'm doing a lot of services to Maldives market as well, and hopefully expand and go into the worldwide, so that Sri Lanka will be benefited.
In Sri Lanka and context, and how do you perceive, how do you look into this private higher education system works?
Yeah, I think it should work in a certain framework, but I don't think it does perform the way that it should be working. In Sri Lanka, there is no quality assurance mechanism for private education institutes, neither regulation systems.
There is no regulated body at right now?
No. Right. Which is a big problem.
Okay.
But I always tell this, but in small countries like Maldives, Maldives has a Maldives Qualification Authority. India has, Pakistan has, Bangladesh has, Mauritius has, Malaysia has. Malaysia again they call Malaysian Qualification Authority. So like that, every country, no education institute can just go and register and do courses. But here Sri Lanka is a very open market. Any Tom, Dick and Harry can come and put up education institute. Now what do you need to put up education institute? You just need a couple of rooms. You go and put some furniture, get somebody to come and teach, and you don't know what they're teaching also. And end of the day they get a piece of paper. So, and it also we do have TVEC for that level up to HNDs. But then again, it's not so regulated. I mean, if there is an institute that is conducting courses, diploma and all that, TVEC will not go and find them and put them behind the bus. But if you go to countries like even Dubai, you just can't go and put up an institute. It's managed by KHDA, Dubai government. So when an institute, when an awarding body or when a university comes to that particular country, that institute first has to go and show their curriculum, the facilities that they are going to offer, the credentials of the lecturers, right? Recognition of the certificate, whether it's recognized in Commonwealth countries or World University Guide or whatever it is. Then only they will approve with a certain investment, what is the minimum investment that you are going to put. Secondly, they will, not only that, they will monitor the courses. They will monitor what you are doing, whether you are adherent to the promises made. Otherwise, they will come and cancel. But here, anybody can put up an institute, which is really bad for education. because private education accounts to more than I think 70% of the Sri Lankan A-level students, because only Sri Lankan seats have about 20,000 seats in universities, right? The balance either will have to go abroad. So people who are going abroad for education maybe 10-15,000, and then this TVEC and VTA, and they have the courses which are running. So majority of the crowd will have to go to a private institute and educate themselves. So there's a bigger market, bigger scope for any private education doing a quality education. But end of the day, like most of the institutions end up giving a certificate which is of no use, and the students cannot perform their jobs. On the other hand, I think these private institutes are mainly managed by uneducated people, right? You can find like they will adopt a doctor, right? That's another problem. Like you can see how many private institutes have doctors. Now if you ask me like my qualification, I can show you my degree certificate, master's certificate, doctor certificate, everything. But there are people just adopt. If you write from the duplication road, if you from top to bottom, if you go, at least 2 or 3 institutes are there managed by the doctors, right? Now first thing, it has to be if it has to be a credible institute, then it has to be managed by a person who's educated. Otherwise, how is he going to do a proper job in educating the children, right? Now at least like if you are doing a HND course, you should have a bachelor's degree now. So if you are doing bachelor's degree, you should have a master's level person managing the institute, so which is not happening. So how is he going to
That's
educate?
the quality aspect of the whole system.
Yes, so that's why I said like right from the beginning, there should be a sort of and also you have to go and check the board of directors. Now in universities comparison, you can say the CEO could be a vice chancellor. The board of directors should be senate, right? Then there's a registrar. Okay. So now vice chancellor always have a PhD, no? At least like masters. Senate, they will have at least masters. Registrar, they'll have at least masters or PhD. Definitely PhD, right? Our local government university system has that. But take the institutions, private institution. CEO doesn't have a degree, but he calls himself a doctor. Directors, right? They don't have degrees, forget about the degrees, not even O-level sometimes. And sometimes you find like, director marketing, he doesn't have even O-levels, but he's promoting degrees and masters. How can that happen? So this is not what we want, right?
Mostly only the business driven.
Yeah, so it is a commercial venture, what you find in this country, which has to change.
I'm in a discussion with Dr. Mohan Pathiran. Continuation of this program followed by the next week, coming Sunday 10 a.m.
The quality of the MBA, which has become MBA has become like just a batch, So very soon like this, even I think taxi drivers will also have MBA.